Hey, y'all, welcome to your weekly forecast. Let's see what your mission is this week, should you choose to accept it. We're going to start with our cardinal fire friend, Aries. Let's jump in and see what's on the agenda for you this week. Spirit, as always, we would love your high and loving perspective, what you see from your place. You can see the board and all the players. We want to know where Aries has been, where you've seen them, where you see them headed from there. Where do you see Aries headed, Spirit, based on past and present decisions, choices, circumstances? What do they need to know? What's in the climate, the energy around? And finally, what is your guidance to make the most of this week? To make the most of this week for Aries, Spirit, knowing everything you know. What do we need to know? Beautiful. Okay, you're at a choice point, and it looks like you're heading in a pretty fruitful direction. Okay, gorgeous. Gorgeous energy, Aries, you win. So, Two of Wands, where you've been and where you're headed. Two of Wands, you can see just dimly in this cave. The Hierophant is actually, if you look at this deck, the Hierophant is standing in the cave. So you have been seeking wisdom, seeking a system, seeking your mission, seeking your path. Two of Wands is like, I've been here, but something is calling me. And it looks like you're responding to the calling. Queen of Pentacles, what Spirit is saying is, what do you have to offer? Tending your garden should be a pleasure. So that's the thing that they're saying when we talk about Queen of Pentacles. Ultimate creator, ultimate resourceful person, also importantly someone very connected to the earth, right? The simple things, slow, easy, organic, pleasurable. When tending the garden is a pleasure, the garden tends to bloom, is what Spirit is saying. So what is your garden? What is your pentacle? What are the skills that you are cultivating? The Queen of Pentacles is also the Queen of Generosity. So you might have something that is like, this is my mission. This is my calling. This is what I want to share. This is the bounty I want to share. What do you want to share generously? I feel like you're in pursuit, and it looks like it's arriving. You might get in a little over your head, but that's actually your guidance. The Fool is to accept that, like, I'm going to look foolish at times. My favorite Stoic philosopher, Epictetus, said, if you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. If you want to be a Queen of Pentacles, you got to get your hands dirty, is what Spirit is saying. So don't be afraid of, like, somebody seeing dirt under your fingernails. Don't be afraid of that. That's not a sign of, I don't know, like, it's not a sign of laziness. It's like learning in public is not embarrassing. And I feel like we need a little reframe around that. Not, being imperfect in public is embarrassing. No, it's fruitful, actually. Only if, though, we will be a Queen of Pentacles and use that resource as the way that it needs to be, right? In the climate and energy around you, Four of Swords. Now, some of you may find that, like, peace and quiet and space to think, and rather also to not think, to allow some space between your thoughts, is actually what Spirit is saying. And that's something that people talk about in meditation, right? Is like, the goal is not so much to get rid of the thoughts. The goal is to put this lovely space between the thoughts, kind of like you keep space between cars on a highway. Like, one thought does not need to be crashing violently into the next one, right? Like, and they're saying, for an Aries, this is particularly about, like, I have a feeling or an urge, and then, like, taking action. There should be some space in there for, okay, like, why do I want to do that? Where is this coming from? So that you can make the best, most fruitful decision. It seems like order, like step 1, step 2, step 3 is becoming really important in your life. Not in the sense of, like, you have to follow a rigid structure, but more like, the less I have to think about it, the more juice I have for my garden, right? Like, for my creativity or my activism, or fill in the blank. Your mileage will vary, Aries. Okay. I hope that this is helpful. I hope it helps you ground and have a more powerful, potent abundant week. Be sure to listen to your rising or moon sign or any other signs you might have a few planets in to get more of the story. All right. Now, let's check in with Taurus. My fixed earth friends, Taurus. The beautiful, patient bulls, spirit. Want to tune into Taurus energy, and from your high and loving perspective, spirit, where do you see Taurus? Where has Taurus been? And where are they headed, spirit? That's what we want to know for this week. This new moon waxing cycle. Where is Taurus headed based on past and present decisions? Spirit, we want to know the energy around, what's available, what kind of potentials or pitfalls or opportunities might be around that Taurus can best navigate if they're aware of it. And finally, what is your guidance? What is your guidance for Taurus people this week, spirit? This waxing moon cycle. Hey, listen. Okay. So, Taurus, where have you been? Maybe torturing yourself a little bit mentally? Maybe feeling a little bit cut off or on the outs? Or maybe just scaring yourself is something that I'm also hearing with this Three of Swords. So, pretty brutal imagery here. This is the mythic tarot. Myths don't play, right? Like, there's a lot of violence. There's a lot of violence. It's pretty straightforward. But Three of Swords is not actually about, somebody betraying you in a physical way so much as you might feel betrayed or left out or just separate. And I wonder, Taurus, for some of you, if you might be, just checking in, breaking your own heart a little bit, maybe scaring yourself or lowering your expectations ahead of time to avoid pain. Just a question. Three of Swords, you might be, the phrase that Spirit is using is telling yourself some stories. What kind of stories are you telling yourself? I think it's important because you're heading toward fire. Knight of Wands. Listen, sometimes old stuff has to bubble up so that we can cut it off. Bear with this visceral imagery for a second. Spirit is talking about like when something like, pussy comes to a head and it's like it all has to get squeezed out. It has to get cut off. We have to sometimes cut out a tumor in order to be a healthier, more vibrant being. So, Three of Swords, what is breaking your heart? Consider separation and whether it could be beneficial in this particular instance. Maybe it's like me and this friend do need some space or whatever. Like I need some space to tend to myself to figure out what I'm thinking. Knight of Wands is a resurgence of passion. It's a resurgence of excitement. And Spirit is actually saying this is not for everybody. Okay, these are general readings, but this is something that they're saying. So there are some Taurus people out there who've been going through even something like a depression. Call it the blues, call it a downward spiral, call it whatever. But some people have had the gray veil over their life and dealing with where the pain is coming from. And it's like the call is coming from inside the house. Dealing with that can bring a resurgence of like, okay, now this is what I want to be focused on. I was kind of dragging this body, this corpse around behind me, and like maybe I need to go ahead and give it a Viking funeral. Put it on a raft, send it on the ocean, set that shit ablaze, and say, thank you for the lessons, and fuck you for the wounds, and goodbye now, I've got better things to do. And that's something that I hear. You've got important, cool, fun, passionate things to do. Knights of Wands. Knights are in action. They're in transition. They're neither where they've been nor their ultimate destination, right? They're in transit. So you are on your way somewhere. And you are on your way there with a lot of passion, creativity, and you're figuring stuff out as you go, okay? And that's something that I'm hearing, and don't be afraid of that. That could be what you are like fearing and telling yourself and etc. If maybe some of y'all have Aries placements. It's okay to not know everything, okay? Now, I'm I trust a Taurus to have a lot of stick-to-itiveness and follow-through. That's not something the Knight of Wands is generally known for. But listen, if you can find that sense of feeling fired up and passionate, and you can ground it into your ability to stick with something, you're going to be pretty much unstoppable. What's around? What's available? Deep reflection. Spirit is saying something else. They're connecting this Three of Swords, this Hermit, and saying there are times in life where we want to be able to connect with other people, and it just feels like for whatever reason, whether it's like everybody's busy or whatever, nobody is reaching back out, or nobody is hearing me or seeing me or responding to me. And Spirit says when the world appears to be shutting you out or ignoring you, it's asking you to turn toward and to cultivate your own treasures, your own perspective. Maybe you're looking for somebody else's perspective, but actually their unavailability or whatever, whether it's temporary, whether it's forever, it's asking you to go with your own vision and to trust yourself more. So you're going out on a limb to trust yourself more. What's the guidance? Nine of Cups, straightforward, very Taurian guidance. Please yourself. Nine of Cups in the Rider-Waite deck is the guy sitting there kind of chubby and like real excited, really fulfilled. His cups are full, they runneth over. He has sipped from them and enjoyed. Nine is also, you know, the Hermit is number 9 in the Major Arcana. So he's the granddaddy of all the nines. Please myself. Follow my path, what I believe. Maybe other people's competing thoughts and ideas are fracturing your sense of what you want to do, and I think that you should come back to you. Come back to what lights you up. That won't steer you wrong. Now, it might, Spirit's funny, they're like, it might get you into trouble, but it won't steer you wrong. Good trouble, okay? To follow your passion, to follow what pleases you. Making your own wishes come true is something that I'm hearing. Yeah, so it's like, don't wait around. Don't wait around. You can make your own wishes come true, and I think that you have the ample opportunity to do it. Focus on what lights you up. If you are feeling dim, it's time to think about what gives you pleasure, what gives you purpose, and put your Knight of Wands, go out and like take some action on it. That will be, Spirit is saying it's like a positive, like a self-fulfilling prophecy. I will make this happen, and then I make the thing happen, and now I believe that I can make another thing happen, and another thing, and another. You feel me? Okay. I hope that that is helpful, Taurus, and that it helps you have a more abundant and wish-fulfilling week. All right. Now, let's talk to cousin Gemini. Let's talk to immutable, airy Gemini, the conversationalist, the question asker spirit. We want to tune into Gemini energy for this week. Gemini sun, moon, rising, and dominant people, spirit, from your high and loving perspective. Where do you see Gemini on the board? Where have Gemini people been? What do you want to share with them for their highest good about where they've been and about where they are headed based on past and present choices and circumstances? Want to know the energy around the climate, what's available, spirit, pitfalls, potentials, encounters. Want to know what's around Gemini at this time, what you want them to know for their highest good, and as always, your guidance. How Gemini people can make the very most of this week. Look at that. Okay. Anybody got Taurus placements? That's the exact same card in the exact same position. And I shuffle these cards pretty freaking well. Okay. Gemini, beautiful energy. The Empress, Spirit's like, what are you cooking up? What are you cooking up? Notice how beautifully round and pregnant and abundant she is. I love this rendering of the card. The wheat field, it's blossoming. The water is pouring. Everything that you need, you have within you, is what I'm hearing, Gemini. Empress is the creator card. It is something is brewing. You are on the verge of giving birth to something, or perhaps you are already. This is the nature of general readings. What Spirit said when I said that was like, no, some of these people are already nurturing this thing. It's like the idea has been born. It's in the world. Now it's a matter of like raising and cultivating and caring for that idea or that baby or that family, right? Empress is mother. And, you know, you could say Mother Earth looking at this. This is the mythic tarot. So that's Demeter, right? The mother of Persephone. And she's cast as the high priestess. Pretty cool. Okay. So the Empress heading toward the Six of Swords, gaining clarity around what you're creating. Like, this is so much abundance and so much beauty, right? And then the Six of Swords is this very clarifying, simplifying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's like the clouds parting and being able to see clearly what you are moving toward. So, Gemini, I think that you kind of can't get away from that. If I'm not feeling abundant, fulfilled, rested, then like I'm not able to give as well as I want to. I'm not able to be as present, as nurturing, as creative as I want to. Taking care of myself is an essential ingredient, right? So the Empress is saying, don't forget leisure. Don't forget pleasure. It is a necessary ingredient for your movement, for your clarity. Okay, let's talk about it. Where you're headed, Six of Swords, and I can't help but point out another card representing like finding our way, finding our path and getting past anything that is confusing, that is distracting, and really finding and honing in on our light. Even like our mission or our purpose, for those of you who feel like are a purpose-driven type of Gemini. So I feel that there's this beautiful idea, and now we're entering this clarifying phase, right? So Six of Swords, taking what you need to learn from past experiences and allowing those things to become compass points for you. So Six of Swords, generally speaking, is talking about things we've been through that are tougher. Conflicts, right? Think like Five of Swords and learning from a Five of Swords experience, a difficult experience or a conflict, and going, well, what I need to know really is, now I know, I didn't know this until now, this is a boundary for me, right? And that becomes a sword, right? And instead of being a sword that is like, ow, God, that really hurt when that person walked all over me, and I had to discover, oh no, I violated my own boundaries first, right? Like by letting that person violate me. And I pull that out, and now I know that's a boundary for me. And that makes my life easier, not harder. Do you know what I'm saying? When I put things in their proper place. So, using your past experiences, even the difficult ones, to make your life easier, smoother, clearer, right? Well, this doesn't work for me, and it never has. Spirit's being funny, but they're making a comparison between, like, you know, some people, it's like, my body type doesn't look good in these wide leg pants. I keep wanting these wide leg pants, but it never works, so I can just leave that out. Bear with me. They're saying it's like, that makes life simpler. Now, every time I look at somebody who's wearing a cool outfit and it's wide leg trousers, and I'm like, ooh, would I look good in that? But I'm like, no, but I don't. I already tried that. I don't look good in it. So next, like, it makes my life easier when I'm going shopping, right? Listen, Spirit, Empress. Spirit is talking about this for a reason. Maybe some of y'all are even on that journey. Okay. So, what's around? What's available? The Hermit. I'm actually hearing something interesting, which is, for some of you, this person, you will meet a mirror. You will meet a person who's like, this person is very much on their own path. This person knows what they are doing, and it's like, even when they don't know exactly what they're doing, they know what their purpose is. They know what their values are. They have set up the compass that Spirit is talking about, using the swords of like, ooh, painful experience, what they've been through, to make their life easier, clearer, more well-oriented than before. The Hermit follows their own path. They're not worried about what everybody else is doing. What they prize above all is a clean, clear inner lantern. Now, what I'm hearing, Gemini, is as a thoughtful, in your mind, you know, airy person who does a lot of thinking. Think about when a lot of air blows onto a candle, it creates a lot of smoke. It burns the fuel or the oil or the wax or whatever that is fueling your lantern. It burns it faster, and it creates this like soot, and it can cloud the lantern. So we got to take time to clean our lantern off and go like, oh wait, I smudged this with my fear of getting hurt again. And I wasn't seeing clearly that like I'm walking right towards somebody who's going to give me that lesson again. or whatever. Your mileage will vary. This is a general reading, Gemini. Knowing your path, knowing your role, knowing your values is what I really see here, and following it. And what is your guidance? Ace of Cups. Keep your heart open. You've got a beautiful spread. I feel like things could really, like the way could get really clear for you this week, and you're clearing it yourself. But as you clear for yourself, it's like Spirit says, it's like you are moving big boulders out of the way. And this Ace of Cups, this refreshing new beginning, this maybe like overwhelming emotional moment of like joy or release. And those are the two words that I'm really hearing. This feeling of joy or release that comes from embracing your path. And this is something Spirit is saying about the Empress, is like the Empress embraces all, right? She holds all. She's, again, the great mother, like Earth Mother, and how Earth holds everything and everyone that is here. You know, the sun doesn't reject anybody and say, you're a bad person, so you don't deserve warmth or shine, right? It is generous that way, our Earth, our universe. And Spirit is asking you to act in a similar way. To like, hey, you know what? Like, I don't need to try to control what anybody else is doing. I can actually hold any disappointment that I might feel from going after what I want and it not going my way. I can deal with crying, right? Ace of Cups. I can deal with that kind of release too, because I know that it makes way for new things to grow and to come through rather than holding it tight. Does that make sense? I hope so. Let me know, Gemini. Always curious. I hope that that is helpful. I hope it helps you have the abundant, gorgeous, well-centered week that is sort of promised by your cards. Very nice. And now, let's talk to your cousin Cancer. Cancer Sun, Cancer Moon, Cancer Rising and Dominant People's Spirit. Help us connect to Cancer energy and show us your high and loving perspective, Spirit. What you see, the truth for Cancer people this week. Want to know where they've been and where they are headed based on past and present choices, circumstances. Spirit, we want to know, what is the climate? What's around? What's available? Opportunities, pitfalls, encounters, anything that you want to share with Cancer people for their highest good, always and only, Spirit. Want to know your advice. What is your guidance for Cancer this week? Spirit's talking about the new moon in Capricorn that just happened. Haven't even flipped over the cards, but Spirit's talking about the new moon in Capricorn. So there was a new moon Sunday, yesterday, if you're watching this on Monday, in your opposite sign. I want to ask you if anything happened over the weekend, let's just say, over this past weekend. Did anything come to light? Did anything, did you get some insight on something? There's something around that new moon that Spirit is trying to draw your attention to. That's just what I'm hearing. Okay, let's get into these cards. Hey. Wow. Really lovely energy. Okay, so Cancer, where you've been hard at work. Eight of Pentacles, like, Spirit is talking, is Eight of Pentacles. I love this card. It's joyful work, right? We've got cards for hard work like Seven of Pentacles or Five of Pentacles or etc. that are like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to keep doing this. Eight of Pentacles is like, I am thrilled to be working on this. So is there some, even like I'm seeing different things. This general reading, of course. One of the things that Spirit is showing me is somebody doing like projects around their home. Right? Very Cancerian to be like, I love working on my nest and making my nest more enjoyable. For some of you, it's like, this is a skill that I'm working on and I'm building. I've been crafting this, or I've been learning this instrument, or I've been whatever. I'm growing my skill, my garden, my joy is something that Spirit is saying. So joyful work. And boy, howdy, you've been at it for a long time. You've been working at this skill for a long time, Cancer. That's what they're highlighting. And Nine of Wands, as where you are headed, says you are on the verge of reaching the shore, but don't stop. Okay, so if any of you are flagging, right? If any of you are getting tired, or if any of you are wondering, like, is there even anything in this for me? Am I even on the right path? Is this a skill I'm meant to be cultivating? Yes. Nine of Wands is, oh my God, endurance is the word that Spirit is using. You've got dedication and you've got endurance, Cancer. Who or what is around and available to you? Queen of Cups, this is very Cancerian energy. So you might meet a fellow nurturer this week or be in conversation with someone. I'm, Queen of Cups, King of Cups, none of that has to do with sex and gender, but I am actually hearing and seeing, in this case, I am seeing a feminine type of figure. So it's like, is this a friend? Is this a therapist? Is this a mother or a sister? Like a prominent feminine figure in your life that really helps you soothe and regulate is something that I'm hearing. I really like this energy. Somebody who can help you reflect on what you're feeling, what you're doing, what you're going through, and help you kind of cleanse and reorient. I really like this energy. This could even be somebody like a healer of an unconventional sort is what I'm seeing and hearing. So it's like Spirit is showing me acupuncture, Spirit is showing me tarot reader, right? Like different people who can reflect things to you and show you things that aren't necessarily like, let's talk about what you are going through, or like, let's talk about your parents or whatever, right? Like more of a conventional therapist or something like that. This feels unconventional and like it taps really directly into you and your soul, your emotions. You could really find that something gets moved this week. The guidance is Knight of Cups, go with your heart. And when I say go, I mean go. Like take action. That's what the Knights do, right? They're neither where they started and they're not where they're going to end up. They're in transit. They're on their way somewhere. And the Knights of Cups are on their way with an open heart, perhaps with like a proposal, right? And like literal, figurative. Do you have something you want to propose to somebody? Do you have do you want, and when I say propose, like, yeah, okay, we could be talking about slipping a ring on somebody's finger. I mean, also it's like, I'd love to collaborate with you, or I'd love to be your friend or whatever. Go with your heart. Knight of Cups is not afraid to be vulnerable. And, Cancer people, sometimes we love to be in the shell. There's plenty of us who have embraced our vulnerability and the best of us and etc. But some of us need a little guidance on how to go with what our heart wants. And I do feel like that's what this person is here to help you with. So who is it for you? Family member, friend, healer, therapist? I'd be very curious to know. But what Spirit is definitely saying is don't hold back. 8 of Pentacles, 9 of Wands. 9 is on the verge of a 10, right? And 10s are completion. So you're quite close, and if you need somebody to give you a little emotional assurance or assistance at this time, it is highly, highly, highly available to you. Somebody to help remind you to believe in yourself. You're on your way. You and well on your way is something that I hear. Okay? Believe in yourself. And when in doubt, seek your Queen of Cups. Okay. Now let's talk to Leo. Leo people. My fixed fire family. Leo sun, Leo moon, Leo rising, Leo dominant people. Spirit, what's on the agenda for this week for Leo people? I want to know from your high and loving perspective where you see Leo. I want to ask you where they've been and where you see them heading based on past and present decisions, circumstances. Spirit, we want to know your guidance for this week. What is your advice for Leo people? And I want to know the climate and energy. What's around? What's available? Potentials, pitfalls, encounters. What does Leo need to know this week for their highest good? Hey, okay. Very cool. So first things first, embrace your leadership, Leo people. Always good advice for Leo people, but in particular, your role in the monarchy is being highlighted. Your role as a sovereign. Let's say it like that, and that's how Spirit is saying it. What do I mean by sovereign, right? I mean, You are your own person. You're doing your thing, right? And maybe, I just want to jump over here, the climate, the energy, like what's around, what's available. Four of Pentacles can be looking at what other people are doing or what other people are having and feeling like, mine's not as good as that. Mine's not as big as that. Why doesn't mine look like that, right? And we can get stuck. And Spirit is like, don't get stuck, because there's a lot of fucking potential to make stuff happen. I want to say, it's like, here's the headline. Don't hold back. There's the headline for your week. If there's a piece of guidance you need every day, don't hold back. If there's something you need to say, don't hold back. If there is something that you want to apply for or ask for or request or propose, don't hold back. Queen of Wands, where you been? Who you been in this case? Queen of Wands, nothing to do with sex and gender, everything to do with a personality type. Queens of Wands are warm. They're charismatic. They're honorable. People enjoy being around them because the Queen of Wands sees the talents and skills and light of others and enjoys brightening that light, amplifying that light, that creativity, that passion, right? So often Queen of Wands people, you'll find them in roles like coaches, cheerleaders, like literal or figurative, like people who see people and support and amplify their strengths and abilities. And the Queen of Wands is also quite magical. You know, in the Rider-Waite version of the card, she's got the black cat sitting at her feet near the throne. And that reminds you, like, you've got powers. You've got intuitive and creative gifts, right? And Spirit wants you to show off. Show off. And if you are not showing off because you see that somebody else is doing it and it makes you feel like, that is... how to say this? That is falling under the hypnosis of a delusional society, right? Like patriarchy, white supremacy, meritocracy, like all of this bullshit that says like you shouldn't create a thing or say a thing or be out in the open or like speak where people can hear you until it's perfect. Don't believe that. Don't believe that. Well, we are a much more fun place to be when we are all singing our own note, right? Like, you are meant to be showing off and sharing your light this week. Always, Leo. You wouldn't have come here as a Leo or a person with Leo placements if that wasn't part of your mission. But particularly this week, don't hold back. Where you're headed, Eight of Wands, beautiful card, things happening quickly, opportunities, invitations, encounters. Like, again, do you want to reach out to somebody and ask for something or give something, or do you want to whatever? Like, I want to submit my resume. I want to apply for this thing. I want to cold call this person and see if I can make this happen. Do it. Don't hold back. Eight of Wands is like throw spaghetti at the wall. We could say it like that. So if it interests you, if it ignites you, go for it and then just see what happens. Just see what happens. Don't hold yourself back is what I'm saying. Let the other person or the other party or whatever decide like, no, lovely manuscript, but no thank you. Not you going, oh, I shouldn't send my manuscript. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay. I think we've kind of covered Four of Pentacles. Do not hoard your treasure. Share it, because ironically, that's how you get more. That's how things flow, right? And we want to go for flow, not for rigidity, okay? Your guidance, King of Swords. This is why I said, act like the sovereign you are. You know what you're doing. You know what you're talking about. I say talking because King of Swords, the air element, the element of the mind, of messages, writing, speaking, recording. For some of you, there might even be some signing of contracts. Some, you might be getting counseled. This is for those of you for whom it hits, okay? If something raises more questions than answers, then just know that that's for another sign, okay? That's my rule of thumb with general readings. Some of you have been considering, do I need to get, like, professional help? Like, let's say, do I need to get a lawyer to look at this? Do I need to see a doctor about this? Should I? There is, Spirit is saying, King of Swords, there is a great, very intelligent authority figure that is available to help clarify things for you. Somebody who has, it's like they work in a different realm than you. That's what I feel. It's like you do this and they do that. And so they can come in and kind of like clean things up or edit things or etc. Does that make sense? Okay. I hope that that's helpful. I feel like you're codifying something cool. Be brave. Be brave, Leo. Again, part of your birthright. All right. Now, let's talk to Cousin Virgo. Mutable Earth. Virgo Sun. Virgo Moon. Virgo Rising and Dominant People Spirit. Thank you for helping me connect with Virgo energy, spirit. And from your high and loving perspective, please show us where you see Virgo, where they've been. Oh, cards are jumping. Show us where they've been, spirit, and where they appear to be headed now, based on past, present decisions, circumstances. Virgo people, spirit, what's around and available? These cards are suddenly jumping, Virgo. They hadn't been jumping for any other sign. Interesting. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Just a couple more, spirit. Want to know what's around. What's in the air? What kind of pitfalls, potentials, encounters, invitations could be around Virgo? What do you want to make them aware of? Always and only for their highest good. And we want to know, spirit, what is your guidance? What is your advice for Virgo people this week? As the moon waxes and fills to the first quarter, spirit, what do you want Virgo people to know? Okay. Hey. Oh my gosh, Virgo. Beautiful. Gorgeous reading. Okay. Virgo, you are learning how to use your power, is what I see with that strength card. So, strength. You are, the word that Spirit is using is formidable. And when I think of the Virgo people that I know why I think of them as formidable. You have the information. You know where the bodies are buried. You know how this works. This is how Spirit is putting it. And I love this deck, okay? But I have beef with this one and only card. Because if you are familiar with like the Rider-Waite version, let's say, of the Tarot Strength card, you'll know that it's the woman who is like, oh, well, it looks just like this. This is a tarot translation camel available on my shop, but that's not why I'm showing it to you. But you know, the classical version of the woman holding the lion. She's not wrestling him, right? That's my one beef with this deck. She's not wrestling the lion. She is friends with the lion. She gets on the level of the lion and respects it. And when we get down with our passion or our anger or our Spirit is even saying, they're using the word like revulsion, like disgust, right? That's what they mean by revulsion. If we can get in touch with and befriend those parts of ourselves that maybe other people have rejected and maybe we ourselves have rejected, the irony is the closer we get with our lion, the more powerful we become. We're convinced, right? We're told it's like, get rid of your jealousy, get rid of your anger, right? These are bad emotions, or these are unkind, or these are, get rid of your selfishness, or etc. How about you get with and love on your selfishness until it turns into self-possession, right? I don't need to take from other people. I need what I need, and I have it for myself, and so I don't have to, like, ooh, how do I get what I need? I make sure that I have what I need. Do you know what I'm saying? Very grounded, powerful, powerful, powerful energy. So learning to, one of the things that I'm hearing is, like, stand up to people in a way that has nothing to do with, like, raising your voice or puffing your chest out or making, like, threats, right? And everything to do with the person just being able to feel from you that you have a rock solid sense of self and that you wouldn't even open your mouth if you didn't know exactly what you were talking about. And that's what I'm hearing, right? Pretty powerful, pretty powerful. So what I hear is, like, you could have an encounter with somebody this week where you're like, was that me? Oh my God. Like, I said that, I did that. I'm so proud of myself. Like, I almost don't recognize myself because I held, my own. I stood up for myself or what I care about, right? And it didn't get me heated. It didn't get me, you know what I mean? It's like, because me and my lion are like this, son. Like, Okay. Where you're headed, Ace of Cups, a beautiful new beginning, a refreshing emotional breakthrough. Something that was like held staunchly. I let that shit go. And it's like Spirit's funny, but they're like, your water broke, right? I've never been pregnant, but Spirit is saying, for those of you who have, this is just what they're saying. So I don't know, you tell me. For those of you that have been pregnant, it's like there's kind of like there's a relief that comes with it, because it's like, oh, now things are really happening. Now it's on. So that's what they're saying. So figuratively speaking, your water may break this week. And what's around and available to you? Six of Wands, a feeling of victory, feeling seen, feeling applauded, feeling appreciated. Some of you are really standing up tall for things or people or yourself in a way that Spirit is really proud of. And it's like Spirit is clapping for you right now, but they're saying like, yes, you'll also be able to enjoy some of that from the humans around you, right? But Spirit, just know, is already applauding you for the work that you are doing. Some of you, wrestling your depression, or, wrestling your apathy and finding your power. Finding how to open up your heart is something that I hear for some of you. So Six of Wands is available. Applause, recognition, promotion, right? And I could see that a couple different ways. They're saying the word promotion. I could hear promotion like, hey, you got the job. Like, hey, we're going to give you the bump in salary, the better title, whatever. Could also be something like, oh, this post I made or this thing I created was shared by somebody else with a larger audience. It was promoted, and now other people are seeing me and applauding me, and it's sort of an unexpected, like, oh, thank you. Like, that's what I'm kind of hearing, Virgo. Love to see it. The guidance is don't hold back. Curious if any of you have Leo placements. The Eight of Wands and I think the Ace of Cups popped up there, different positions, but the vibe was don't hold back. If you're thinking about, I want to propose this, I want to invite this person to this, I want to ask for that, I want to apply for this, whatever, don't hold back. Eight of Wands says throw spaghetti at the wall, essentially, right? Like, cleared for takeoff. Go for it. That's what it's saying. And if Six of Wands, it might be kind of like strike while the iron is hot. It's like, oh, this person is talking about this topic. Now is the time for me to get out and share my stuff. That's what I'm hearing. So don't hold back. No matter what, open your heart. Don't hold back. Certainly don't be ashamed of any part of yourself. If you can befriend it and give it compassion and learn where it's coming from, it will give you all of its power. That's what I hear. Potent stuff, Virgo. Potent stuff. I'm excited for you. I hope that this helps you have a better week. All right. Let's talk to my Libra family. Your fellow Libra suns. Libra moon people, Libra rising people, Spirit. Thank you for helping me tune in for what's showing up for people who carry the archetype, the energy of Libra this week. Want to know where they've been, where you see Libra has been, and where they are headed based on past and present choices, circumstances, everything that you share. Spirit, always in the name of their highest good. Their joy, fulfillment, alignment, ease, abundance. What do you want to share with Libra people? What's around? What's available to them this week? And what is your guidance, Spirit? What would you share with Libra? How would you guide them this week for their highest good? Let's see what we got here. Okay, where you been and where you're headed. Listen, we'll take it. We will take it. Okay, so our old friend, the Tower. The Tower is shocking, unexpected change. And generally speaking, it's change that kind of comes from the outside. Change that is like, I didn't have a choice in this because I would have made a different choice, right? So something shaken out from underneath you that you kind of maybe, I'm going to use this phrase, okay, you might have like taken for granted. In the sense of, I thought this would always be here. I thought that job would always be there. Or I thought this relationship could last through anything or whatever. Or I thought my car was going to keep running and then my car breaks down, right? That can be a tower moment. It doesn't have to be literal earth shaking stuff. But we have been having, right, these like collective and community kind of towers falling down, and Libra people are not people who can ignore what's happening around them in the world, right? You are the sign that vies for love, for justice, for peace. And so, you know, some towers have been detonated recently, and parts of you are dissolving as those towers shake. Now, Libra, it's a natural occurrence for parts of us to dissolve, to change. And, you know, Spirit's talking about survival of the fittest. No, give me a second here. Bear with me. They're saying people have like misunderstood that phrase and thought of it as like survival of the strongest, right? The fittest. And it's like, no, the most adaptive, the most fit in the ones that can fit into the current circumstances or environment are the ones that survive, right? So the ones who can fit. And that means adapting. So what has irrevocably changed around you or inside of you? And can you embrace that? Can you try to look from, you know, as I say, Spirit's like zoomed out perspective and go, this is extremely uncomfortable, but it is also liberating me from a lie or from a belief or from, a prejudice, a bias, the sawdust in your eye, plank, whatever. Like the hard part is it's shaky. The good part is now you know where your feet really are and what's really solid and what's not. And where you're headed is a very empowered place. Queen of Wands. She does not look shaken. She does not look afraid. I think if anything, Libra, this dissolving or this shakeup could be revealing to you how strong you are and how well you know yourself, how self-possessed you maybe even have like become. You know, that's what I'm hearing for some of you. I feel, it's funny, but what Spirit is saying is like you're representing yourself well, which is like kind of a funny phrase, but I see people admiring you. That's what I feel. Is whether you know it or not, whether they ever say it to you or not, I feel that there are some people that are looking at you, that are admiring you for the way that you hold yourself. Queens of Wands are warm. They're creative. They're passionate. They're honorable. They're very alive, right? They're very vital. They have a spark to them, and people enjoy being around them because that spark is contagious, right? I feel that your spark is contagious, and sometimes, maybe a tower would have snuffed out your beautiful spark, your beautiful candle needs to be open, right? Your flame needs to be able to breathe. So maybe there was a situation in which it would have engulfed your flame and you're being liberated from that. And listen, if this is where we've been, then at least it's in the past. Let's step boldly into our Queen of Wandsness. How can you step into your Queen of Wandsness? Don't be afraid to show off. Don't be afraid to be seen. See your light, your warmth, your beauty even, or your charisma as like, this is a gift to people when I share it generously, right? Let me, not see it as showing off so much as like sharing. That's what I hear. What's around and available to you? 8 of Pentacles, a great work. Like capital G, capital W. A skill that you are building, a garden that you are cultivating. Pentacles are things that have tangible roots and results. So like time and effort and energy spent that results in money, or results in a song you wrote, or results in a beautiful blooming garden, or a strong body, or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Things where you put your nose to the grindstone, but when we put the nose to the grindstone with the 8 of Pentacles, it feels good. It's like, I love doing this. I love getting better at this. I love the results that I'm getting is what I'm hearing. So what is it that you are working on? And you're like, oh yeah. Spirit is saying flow state too, where it's like when I do this work, or I work on this skill, or I work in the garden, like when I tend to this garden of my life, I get into a flow state and time just passes. And like, I just feel almost euphoric is the word that Spirit is using. I feel euphoric. I feel so light is something that I'm hearing when I do this work, even though it's heavy work, right? Because 8 of Pentacles says working hard. But if your heart is in it, If your wand is in it, if your passion is in it, well, you can't be stopped. Guidance. 5 of Wands. Don't get distracted. Work on what matters. Work on what really matters, and don't spend your precious, beautiful wand, your energy, your fire, your creativity on fights that don't really matter to you. There's the 7 of Wands for like fighting for something that you care about. And there's the 5 of Wands that can be like I'm just kind of getting into comment wars online, or I'm just kind of like maybe watching other people beef and like kind of getting lost in what other people are doing and distracted from my own great work. And, you know, Spirit is saying if one foundation was shattered, it's like that was somebody else's foundation, something somebody else set up for me. I'm setting up my own. And that's what I hear. Wishing you much love, much luck, many blessings with that, Libra. You're handling the dissolving very courageously. Love to see it. All right. Now, let's talk to Scorpio. Scorpio sun, Scorpio moon, Scorpio rising and dominant people. Fixed water, still waters run deep, Spirit. From your high and loving perspective, please show us what's going on with Scorpio. Where do you see them? We want to know where Scorpio has been and where they are headed this week based on past and present choices and circumstances, Spirit. Where are they headed? What do you want to make them aware of for their highest good? Want to know what's around, what's available to Scorpio people this week. What do you want to make them aware of for their highest good? And what is your guidance? How can Scorpio make the very most of this week and use it to their best advantage? Oh, scorpionic energy all over the place here. All right. All right. So where you've been, the moon, Scorpio things, hanging out in, the darkness, hanging out in dreams, hanging out in the unconscious, noticing patterns, no big deal. Chilling, discovering the secrets of the universe, no big deal. The moon is our unconscious. Memories, dreams, things that communicate to us in feelings and in symbols, right? It's not the sun where it's like, oh, this is exactly what's going on. Here's the facts. I can see the solid objects right in front of me. No, the moon is like dreams where a skillful person like you might be able to interpret the symbolism of the dreams because the symbols are connected to the feelings, right? If I have continual dreams of like a zombie apocalypse, right? It's not the world warning me that there's a zombie apocalypse coming, but perhaps I'm getting a sense that like, oh, they're trying to assimilate us all and making us act in the same way, and I have a deep fear of this that I want to become aware of and fight that assimilating kind of energy. Do you know what I'm saying? We can go deep, and you are being asked to look deeply at the feelings that are popping up, the patterns that appear to be showing up. Sometimes patterns can feel like punishments. This is something Spirit is saying. Sometimes patterns can feel like punishments, Scorpio, where it's like, why is this happening again? Why is this happening again? How would I possibly, like, I'm dating a different person, but this is the same situation. Or I got a different job, but now I'm in the same dynamic. Or do you know what I'm talking about? You are not being punished. This is an opportunity to see things differently and to respond differently than you have in the past. Now, I love to see the rest of these cards because I feel like you will definitely get clarity and movement this week if you so choose, of course, right? Your free will is everything, right? So, where you're headed is to the Queen of Cups. Now, if there would be a very short list of cards in the tarot that I would ask to guide me through the landscape of the moon, and the Queen of Cups is second on that list, second only to the High Priestess, right? Like, these are the two chicks that I would say, like, hey, I'm navigating a moonscape. Can y'all help me? because I don't really understand everything that's happening. I don't know why I feel this way. Why is this feeling bubbling up even though everything's okay or whatever? It's like, okay, look deeper. There is something hidden here, right? With the moon, something that's not necessarily, when you see it, you get it. To look at it for a while now. Spirit is showing me any of my geriatric millennials, my Gen X's, remember like Magic Eye, and how you have to like put the page right here, and then you pull back until basically like your eyes are crossing, and then you can see something pop out. It's like you need to look at this with like a different set of eyes. You need to use your vision differently, perhaps literally looking like, here's something. Okay, quick lesson, Scorpio, on like seeing auras, seeing entities, seeing energies. We are from a young age taught, right? And it's natural for us to look straight forward through our eyes, right? You know, use the pupil and use what's called like a predator gaze. Like if you think about predator animals versus prey animals, you'll notice that predator animals tend to have their eyes right on the front so they can look around and see. And for prey animals, they need to be like, who is around me? What's happening over here to make sure I can drink this water without getting ganked by something? You know what I'm saying? Now, peripheral vision, right? For prey animals, the same principle holds that when we use our peripheral vision, when we soften our gaze and start to literally look at things differently, we start to see some things that we will not see if we're just looking the normal way, the human way. You know what I'm saying? So some of you may already mess around and play with this, and this could be Spirit's way of saying, get back into that practice. Like, hey, have you been practicing seeing auras? Grab your crystals. Go look at a tree. Go look at your pet. Go look at a person. Anything that can sit long enough for you to be patient and notice, oh, there's their aura starting to appear as I relax and like kind of like soften and loosen my gaze is what I'm hearing. So, okay, side lesson for those of you who are witchy, okay? Now, whether you are or not literally attempting to see auras and soften your gaze and change the way you look at things, figurative or literal, that is your mission this week, is to be willing to look at things differently and to see them from a deeper place. Queen of Cups, Scorpio things, right? Emotionally, intuitively tuned in, sensitive is what Spirit is saying. And it's funny, they're saying the Princess and the Pea. It's like there's something off. There's something, I just feel something. And I'm not saying that there's necessarily something wrong, right? But it's like, I feel something. There's something down there. Like, what is that? Something is just making me a little bit squirmy. Look deeper. What's around and available to you? A rush, a refreshing new beginning, a sense of understanding, right? Like notice like the darkness and then the increasing light of these cards. An emotional breakthrough. Somebody might even reach out to you is something that I'm hearing for some of you. And it's like there could be forgiveness extended or requested and like a bridge that is built. That's something I'm hearing. And like I'm also hearing like water under the bridge. Like that's what I hear. It's water under the bridge. I can finally let it go only because I was able to acknowledge it in the first place. Does that make sense? Okay. Your guidance. Very powerful card, Scorpio, the Magician. You have everything that you need. Cook it up. Cook it up. You have the cup, the sword, the wand, the pentacle. You do not need to seek anything new out. It's funny, but Spirit is showing me somebody like shopping their closet, right? Like, okay, I don't have money, or, you know, the crazy lady on the internet said, I don't need to go get anything new. I need to just remix with what I have. And that's something that I'm seeing is like, if you will just mix around and play with what you have in the kitchen cupboard or in the closet or whatever, you will come up with something new and fresh and cool, which is further implied by the Ace of Cups, right? Ace of Cups here, Ace of Cups here, Ace of Cups here. And a lot, if you ever look at the Rider-Waite version of this, there will be a cup sitting at the bottom. Waters, right? Deep, murky, emotional waters. This discovery that you make, this breakthrough that you have could be the secret ingredient. That's something that I hear. So if you have an opportunity to even seek a Queen of Cups in your life, like maybe you have a really very good friend who's like intuitive and sensitive and kind, or maybe you have like a counselor, a therapist, a healer of some kind that you love to go to, that when you see them, you feel seen and you feel like you see yourself more clearly. That could probably be like a way to expedite that. That's just what I'm hearing. Okay. I hope that that is helpful, Scorpio. Let's talk to cousin Sagittarius. Mutable fire. Spirit, want to tune in for the energy this week for Sagittarius. Sagittarius sun, moon, rising and dominant people. Cards are jumping. Something going on with the mutable signs. These cards are jumping. All right. Sagittarius. Spirit, we would love your high and loving, zoomed out perspective. We want to know this week in this waxing moon cycle where you see Sagittarius. Where has Sagittarius been? And where are they headed based on past and present choices, circumstances? We want to know what is around, what's available, what kind of energy or invitations or potentials, pitfalls may they encounter in the external world. And what is your guidance? What is your guidance for Sagittarian people, spirit? Sagittarius sun, moon, rising and dominant people. What is the guidance to help them have the best week possible? Queen of Cups is popping up a lot. Okay. Listen, the sun is coming up, so don't worry about this. Okay. This is actually like the triangulation here is really cool. Okay. So where you've been, Sagittarius, you've been with yourself. You've been with your heart. You've been with your feelings. Queen of Cups is sensitive, compassionate, tuned in, right? She's a feeler. She's a lover is actually the way that Spirit is putting it. So some of you, it's like maybe that's the part that you identify most with is like, I'm a lover. I love to love. Like, very sweet, very nurturing, very sensitive energy. And it's important to recognize your sensitivity and to recognize that that's a feature, not a flaw. And that as long as you treat it like a flaw, you're not getting the feature out of it. And that's something that I'm hearing. Okay. So some of you might overload yourself, overstimulate yourself is something that I'm hearing. Energy around and available to you. Spirit wants me to jump right here. If you are sensitive as a Queen of Cups, it's not a great idea to play with 10 of Swords. Because if one little prick from one little sword is like, because I'm so sensitive, right? Like one painful word or one painful thought can really like stick with me, right? Then 10 is way, 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 way too many. So are you overthinking it? Are you overstimulating yourself? Like Spirit said, like I'm thinking too much, I'm reading too much, I'm like taking in way too much information and I don't have enough time for integration. Spirit is really prioritizing integration for you this week and to like trust how you feel. So as an example, when I'm scrolling on this app, I feel shitty. Like I'm addicted to it, kind of like I kind of just pick it up and do the habit, but like I feel like when I dial into how I feel, I can't be led wrong. It will only lead me to the truth, the sun. Beautiful card. Health, vitality, positivity, knowing what you're doing, a sense of like being in the right place at the right time. You got to trust how you feel this week, Sagittarius. I'm curious if any of you have a Queen of Cups-ish person in your life, because that would be a good person to spend time with. Whenever a court card pops up in the tarot, it generally represents a person who is around as well as a part of us that wants to resonate. So there might be somebody, friend, mother, sister, counselor, like somebody who sees you clearly and lovingly, gently, and can help you see yourself the same way, and therefore get a lot of clarity and excitement and vitality and a feeling of, again, being in the right place at the right time. Like, oh, I do know what I'm doing. Actually, this is great. Even if this sucks or this is falling apart or this doesn't make me feel great anymore, the sun is coming up. If you look in the background of the Ten of Swords, generally speaking, one of the themes that you will find across cards is the sun is coming up, the darkest before the dawn, right? The darkest, the worst has happened. The defeat or the feeling of like not good enough or or I couldn't make it work happens, and everything can only get easier and lighter from there. So, for those of you who might be overstimulating yourself or overthinking, consider dipping more into the cool waters of your feelings and noticing how thinking about that makes you feel, or engaging in that conversation or with that person makes you feel. And you might decide, I've had enough. 10 of Swords can be, I've had enough. I'm good. Okay, I tried everything. I persuaded, I encouraged, I cajoled, I begged, I did everything that I could, said it every way I could. It didn't work out. That means that I can walk away knowing that that wasn't for me, and that is something Spirit is saying. So it's like, okay, then that wasn't for me. Then what is for me is out here, and it's gorgeous. The sun is a gorgeous card, especially to see sitting in like the near future. So step into the sun. Shameless is something that I'm hearing with the sun also. It's like there's nothing to be ashamed of, that I have failed at times, or I've disappointed myself, or I've disappointed someone else, or whatever. There's no shame in that. That's part of being human. Like this is the fuck around and find out planet. Okay. So sometimes we find out in fun ways, and sometimes we find out the hard way. And either way, there's no shame in having not known something and now knowing something. You know what I'm saying? Okay. Your guidance, the Hermit, it vibes very much with the Queen of Cups. Seeing yourself, your path for what it is, independent of what anybody else might think or say or believe about you. Do you know your own path? Is your own light shining bright enough? Are you willing to follow it until you get to the sun, where it's like, oh, the lights are on in the whole place. I don't have to, in the freezing cold, I can pull off my robe. I can be seen. That's something that I'm hearing. So it's like, as I am willing to look deeper, look closer, be ironically like go further and deeper and more solitary into myself, the more available I will be for all kinds of fun and connection and opportunity in the external world. So good time to be with yourself if things have been really hard, if you've had some recent defeat, right? More than ever, like that means that it's important to tend to yourself and to go, what is this showing me? What is this showing me? And let me be gently curious about it rather than, I want an answer. Like, have I ever felt this way before? When was the last time I felt like this? Or when was the last time I felt disappointed in this particular way? Does anything else going on right now rhyme with that? That can lead you to like some, aha moments, okay? That's what I hear. I hope that helps, Sagittarius. Now, let's talk to Capricorn. I want to tune in for Cardinal Earth Cousins Capricorn, Capricorn Sun, Capricorn Moon, Capricorn Rising, and Dominant People Spirit. What do Capricorn people need to know this week for their highest good? We want to know from your high and loving perspective, Spirit, the truth for their highest good. Where has Capricorn been? Where do you see them headed? What is around? What's available? What's in the climate? What kind of potentials or pitfalls or opportunities or invitations might be around Capricorn this week? And what advice do you want to give them to have the best possible week? All right. Let's see what we got here, Cap. Both of these queens have been popping out so much this week. There is something going on. People are doing some really powerful inner work. Okay. Excuse me. Where you've been, Capricorn, where you're headed, you are maintaining a queen status. Nothing to do with sex and gender, everything to do with personality type, right? And where kings tend to be conquerors, queens tend to be creators, right? So more focused on what you're making than what you control, right? Or like we could even say like more focused on what you're creating than something you're building, which would be more of a yang king kind of vibe, right? So Queen of Wands, charismatic, warm, passionate, creative, very powerful. Also, both of these queens are very intuitive. If we had gotten the Queen of Pentacles and the Queen of Swords, right, the different set of queens, I would not be using the word intuitive or like strictly magical, right? Those two queens, the Swords and the Pentacles, they're more straightforward, right? But these two are quite mystical, quite deep. So, Capricorn, you know what you're doing. I don't need to tell you that. Every Capricorn worth their salt knows that in most realms of their life, they know what they are doing. I feel like this is a time in your life when you are wading into deeper waters. You know, a Queen of Wands, one of the marks of a Queen of Wands is their confidence. Like when you meet a Queen of Wands, you know, because there's just a sense of like, yeah, I know who I am. I like who I am. I know what I'm doing. I like what I'm doing. And like some are more sparkly or outlandish than others. And as Capricorns, y'all tend to be a little more subdued. But that sense of strength, that we'll get there, that sense of strength, that sense of unshakability is definitely there with the Queen of Wands. Whereas a Queen of Cups comes off a little softer, a little more sensitive, a little more concerned with people's feelings, right? Because that is her realm, the realm of the cups, the realm of water. I feel, I mean, these are great cards, honestly. All of these are great cards. So it's like you have a great reading for this week. What I feel is embrace your creativity, your charisma, like what, you know, your sense of humor, these things like the Queen of Wands, right? Wit and an ability to see and celebrate and amplify others. That's kind of you at your best, right? When you're a Queen of Wands. And you're headed into a Queen of Cups place where it's getting into your feelings. There might be somebody this week that you want to get in touch with who's a Queen of Cups in your life. Who is somebody that is like calm, sensitive, compassionate. Somebody who, when you speak to them, you feel like you see and understand yourself more clearly. I feel like you want to get in this person's orbit, or they may come into your orbit. That could be why they're showing up as like where you're headed, right? An encounter with a Queen of Cups who's going to bring that side out of you even more. So you're in quite a fiery mood, position, vibe this week. The energy around and available to you is strength. Now, I love this deck. This is the Mythic Tarot. It's one of my favorites. It's out of print. Oh, mine's falling apart and it's out of print. My one beef with this deck is the way that the strength card is illustrated, because, you know, this is Hercules wrestling the Nemean lion. But if we look at the classic version, this is my little tarot translation candle, but I'm not trying to pitch you, but you should buy it. It's on my website. But look at the classical version where the woman is holding the lion. She's got her hands basically in its jaws, but she's got this gentle, loving expression on her face. So I have beef with like the Hercules and the Nemean lion because we're not trying to like wrestle our anger or depression or anxiety or fear or revulsion, right? The idea is to get compassionate with it, to tend to it, to love on it, to try to understand where it's coming from. So rather than being like, I hate how anxious I get, being like, okay, so where is this coming from? Like, go deeper, and don't fear or try to, like, you know, Capricorn things. Like, I'm trying to be strong, so I can't allow this emotion. And maybe that's even why, it's like why I felt called to pull this deck for today. Maybe you want to wrestle your lion, but that's not really the move. The move is to, like the old Aesop's fable, notice that it has a thorn in its paw. And if you remove the thorn in its paw, you and that lion will be friends for life. So if a part of you feels depressed, right, and you go to that part of you, and instead of saying, like, I wish you would just get out of bed, I wish you would just fucking get over it, I wish you would just be strong, that was so long ago, or whatever, be like, hey, what's going on with you? What do you need right now? How are you feeling? And like, let it speak back to you. Let it say, like, I want to go outside, or I just want to get back in the bed, or I want to cry, or I want to watch Sense and Sensibility, whatever. Let it say what it needs to say, and give it what it needs, and it will give you what you need in return. I promise. I promise. It's ironic. It's strange. It feels like a weird approach in a world that tells us if something about us is less than optimal or isn't helping us be productive or like good in the eyes of society, then it's a bad thing. Your jealousy is bad, or your depression is a weakness, or etc. No, actually, it's a part of you. And anytime you try to other and diminish a part of you, you other and diminish a part of your power. So let's bring it back in. This person might be able to help you do that. Your guidance, the wheel of fortune, accept the ending and the new beginning. Things are rolling. Things are rolling. You have pushed the wheel and the wheel is off and going, right? And that's what I'm hearing is kind of like, uh-oh, did you push the wheel, Capricorn? Because now that motherfucker is rolling. It is going places that you won't even necessarily be able to control. Now is like your chance to just keep up with it, right? Wheel of Fortune is a great card. It usually indicates like a positive change in luck. But the thing about the wheel is it's up and down. It's up and down, right? Like think like getting on a roller coaster. It's fun. I signed up. I paid to get on this roller coaster, but my stomach is going to lurch. There's times when I'm going to be scared. There's times when I might be screaming, get me off this ride, but I want it on the ride, right? And in the end, I'm going to be happy that I rode the ride, right? But if my stomach gets a little churny now and then, let me accept that as like, this is the price of admission for changing my life and for changing the cycle that I'm in and moving things is getting a little like, well, did I make the wrong decision? Oh no, I don't know about this. Seems like you're on the right path. Be with the feelings that come up. That's your mission should you choose to accept it. Just be with the feelings that come up as the wheel turns and as you ride forward. Don't reject them. Don't try to correct them. Don't try to hush them or diminish them. Let them say what they need to say. Sit with them and let them know, like, I ain't going anywhere. I'm not ashamed of you. You're not gross, and I'm not going to try to change you or shame you. I just want to know what's going on. And then you'll find integration, self-possession, a bigger sense of like something Spirit is saying definitively is like you'll find that you have more energy. A lot of energy might be being spent right now, Capricorn, on like trying not to feel certain things. And it's like, ooh, the irony of like, if you embrace it, then it just integrates and you no longer have to like carry it outside of yourself. Do you know what I'm talking about? Does that make sense? Let me know, Capricorn people. My God, I know I'm talking to like an earth sign and we're talking about real deep stuff, but like, I hope it's making sense. Okay. Now, let's talk to Aquarius. Let's tune in the energy of Aquarius spirit, Aquarius sun, Aquarius moon, Aquarius rising and dominant people. I want to know what they need to know for their highest good this week, Spirit. Want to know from your high and loving perspective where Aquarius has been, where they appear to be headed. Want to know what kind of energy is around and available this week, the climate or encounters, invitations, pitfalls, potentials, anything you want them to be aware of for their highest good. And as always, your guidance for how to make the best of this week for Aquarians. Hey, this Queen of Cups won't stop. It's wild. But, you know, it's like, it kind of makes sense. It's like, it's this week and this is the vibe that we're on. And we just had a new moon in Capricorn. Like, okay, all right. Let's talk about it. Don't hold back. You're like the third sign that has showed up for this week. But that's the first thing I want to say is don't hold back, Aquarius. You might be thinking that if you strategically hold back some information or some emotion, like I'm putting myself in a stronger position by withholding. You're not. That's what I'm hearing. That is not for everybody. Not every Aquarian is trying to withhold, right, emotions or information or anything this week. But for those of you that are like, this puts me in a stronger position, this keeps me from getting hurt, I feel like, no. I mean, do it if you want to. Do it if you want to. I'm not your mom, right? I just feel that it leaves you empty to do that. So don't do that. That's what I hear. Okay. The Chariot, the Queen of Cups. The Chariot is astrologically associated with the sign of Cancer, right? Cancer is an emotional sign. It's sensitive. It's compassionate. It vibes with the Queen of Cups. Why do I even bring up the sign of Cancer? Because Aquarius, like, you don't live necessarily too much in your feelings. Maybe you have a Cancer moon or rising or Scorpio, Pisces, you know, maybe you've got watery stuff in your chart. But the average Aquarian is not that comfortable talking about their feelings or like even going deep into their feelings, examining them, etc. It's like, that's messy. I know what I think, right? I know what I know, and I act on what I know, not on necessarily what I feel. But this week, I feel like acting on what you feel is like the secret to your success. Where you've been, the Chariot, you are ready or already in the process, where do you find yourself on that spectrum, of taking the reins in your life and saying, like, enough of this, like, things just go in the way they go. I'm turning the wheel. I'm grabbing the reins. I'm pulling things in the direction that I want to go in. I'm, you know, one of the phrases I'm hearing is like, I'm mastering myself. Like, I'm disciplining myself. I'm making use of my willpower. Willpower and discipline are words that you would definitely see associated with the Chariot, because it's like these horses, right, would run wild if I didn't say, we got to go this way. You know, they would just do their own thing. Maybe this one's going that way, this one's going that way. It's a white horse and a dark horse. It's our conscious and our unconscious. And it's like, this one doesn't want to be seen, and this one wants to be seen by everybody, or whatever. And they're pulling in two different directions, so I can't go where I'm trying to go. This is getting on path. This is, I'm going to harness both my skills and my talents and my goals, white horse, conscious mind, and I'm going to harness to make an effort to understand and to hold my fears, my doubts, my quote unquote bad or negative qualities, right? Like, I know I can be irresponsible, or I know I can be selfish sometimes. The more I fucking know about myself, the more I can get myself to do how I really want to be, even if my natural or unconscious state is to be fill in the blank, whatever, right? Okay, yeah, maybe I tend to be avoidant, right? Aquarian things. Maybe I tend to be avoidant, but I know that, and I care about the person that I'm with or the people that I'm close to, and so I'm going to, okay, we're not going to be avoidant. Okay, come here, Black Horse, we're not going to be avoidant. Okay, we're going to go toward intimacy or openness or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about? How many Aquarians have I already lost? Where you're headed, Queen of Cups. I say all of this and about Cancer and all of that because, Queen of Cups, you are headed toward a more sensitive, compassionate, intuitive place, approach, etc. You're like the fourth or fifth sign I've said this to, but like, this is what I'm hearing is like, do you have a Queen of Cups in your life? That person could be, and this has nothing to do with sex and gender, okay? I'm going to use more feminine terms because that's more what I'm feeling, but this person could very well be a man, AMAB, whatever. Like, but someone who is sensitive, compassionate, like mother, sister, healer, therapist, friend, somebody who really sees you, and the way that they see you helps you see yourself, not just more clearly, but also more lovingly, more compassionately, more gently, right? So like, this person could be like a literal therapist in the way that's like, well, when you put it like that, I can't believe that I was this harsh on myself. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay. Energy around and available to you. The potential to begin, like to hit an early milestone on something really cool. Are you collaborating with people? Three of Pentacles is like teamwork makes the dream work. Like dream team, right? Three of Pentacles. collaboration, bringing in people with different perspectives in order to help you build something. So maybe even if you're the lead, maybe you get, you know, like an editor or an illustrator or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like we need the actor and the editor and the director or whatever to all make this little piece of art. Who's doing what? Who are you working with? And if you're not working with anybody, it might be a good time to think about like who you could collaborate with, or even just if you're not literally working on a project, like, or maybe you were working solo, like I said, on something, and like, okay, this has nothing to do with a team. I'm writing this book, or I'm making this channel or podcast or whatever. You might want to bring in a couple of people who are very different from you, which is what the Three of Pentacles tends to speak about. It's like they have a completely different perspective and set of skills and abilities, and therefore they will be able to put a very different set of eyes on what you're doing and notice things that you wouldn't notice, like address things you wouldn't address, fill in a blank that you didn't even know was there. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I really feel, don't go it alone. This brings us to your guidance. Eight of Swords, don't hold back. I said it in the beginning. Especially don't hold back because of the myths and fables that you're telling yourself about yourself. Eight of Swords tends to be holding out and holding back out of a sense of insecurity. I'm afraid I'm not good enough. Like, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? And taking all your what ifs and sticking them as swords in the ground in front of you to form a fence to prevent you from moving towards something that you want. So don't let insecurity or fear of the unknown keep you from going for what you want. Actually, it's a lot better to invest your time in becoming confident that you can handle things that you don't know about yet, or that you will encounter, by getting a rock solid sense of like, this is who I am, this is what I want, this is what I'm about. And like the Chariot, no matter what obstacle comes in front of me, I am going to get where I'm going. And if anything, I'm going to make use of obstacles and opposition, because they will further inform, oh yeah, I'm really not wanting that. I really like this. I'm willing to fight to get to that. Things like that. It's like it makes me clearer on what my purpose is and why I'm doing what I'm doing. And if I approach things from that place, then the opposition and obstacles, I almost kind of welcome them. Because I'm like, oh yeah, you're here to teach me something. You're here to show me something. Let's go. Let's go. That's what I feel. Okay, Aquarius. Pretty cool. Pretty exciting. Love to hear if you've got comments, questions, stories. If you're like, I know exactly what this is and it's this. Always love to hear. All right. Now let's talk to cousin Pisces. My mutable water friends and family. Pisces sun, Pisces moon, Pisces rising, Pisces in 12th house dominant people, Neptune dominant people, spirit. What do Pisces people need to know this week for their highest good? From your high and loving perspective, spirit, where do you see Pisces? Want to know where they've been? I want to know where you see them headed. Pisces people, spirit, based on past and present decisions and circumstances. Want to know what kind of circumstances and events they can expect this week. The climate, the energy around them, spirit, pitfalls, potentials. From your zoomed out perspective, want to know where you see Pisces and what you see showing up to meet them. And finally, what is your guidance, your advice for Pisces' highest good for this week? Anything you want them to do, know, focus on, be aware of in the name of their alignment, fulfillment, truth, beauty, joy. Hey. Revelations. No pun intended. Revelations. Okay, Pisces. 8 of Cups. Pure and simple, walking away from something that you invested plenty of love and time and effort and appreciation into. And at one point, this thing helped you grow. At one point, sipping out of these 8 golden cups was nourishing. It was sweet. But over time, it's grown stagnant. And the love and the time you have invested has kind of grown a little bit of algae, gone a little still. And you know that we can't be drinking still water. It is not good for us. And the Eight of Cups shows this woman walking in the night, right? Turning away from the 8 golden cups, something she cared so much about and something that is so precious, right? Just think about like the idea of like a solid gold cup. If you are turning your back on solid gold and walking into the night, then it must truly mean that what is your treasure, your real treasure, is out there, not back there, right? So going deeper, going further, going in pursuit of something that you can't even necessarily see yet, right? The Eight of Cups has a lot to do with faith. I have to believe that there is something better for me out there, because if it's not this, then it must be out there. And sure, if Mufasa could pop his head out of the clouds and go, you got to come right over here, that'd be lovely. But my soul is the one that's calling me, and it's, you know, the call is coming from inside the house. So I have to follow the call and get into the unknown, right? Where are you headed? 4 of Swords. Even though moving away from something that is familiar and something that once was, you know, really precious to us, even if it has dried out or gone stagnant, there is a freedom, there is a liberation, there is a peace in accepting that this isn't for me anymore, and I need to recover from that. Something that I'm hearing, and this is definitely not for every Pisces, but for some people I'm actually hearing this is attached to like addiction. Like, you know, if you've ever heard anybody who has dealt with an addiction and they finally, you know, achieve a level of sobriety, and they're like, it was a monkey off my back. I'm hearing like, this is a monkey off your back. So for some of you, literal addiction. For some of you, it can be like an emotional addiction, right? I was addicted to this cycle. I was addicted to this person, and it wasn't good for me. And it was stagnating my growth or diminishing my energy, right? And now in letting it go, I can find a sense of peace. The 4 of Swords is like recovery, mental, physical, emotional. It is finding peace after the fray, after the fight, and getting a clearer sense of like who I am and what I do. What have I, like what I've just been through, how that has affected me, and how I will go forward knowing what I know now. You know what I'm talking about? So very deliberate, clean, clear reflection, something like journaling. And you don't have to like sit and write in a journal, although that's great. You could like turn on your phone and speak into your camera or speak into the voice memo or whatever. But like getting your feelings out and gaining some clarity by talking things through might be really helpful for you this week. Energy around and available to you. An adjustment. The necessity of an adjustment is something that I'm hearing. Like, you've been spending your time, spending your effort, spending your money in a certain way. And I feel that there's kind of like a moment of truth, a come to Jesus. Again, this judgment card, revelations, like we talked about. There's a sense of like what's working and what's not working. And let's do more of what works and less of what doesn't, right? That's like a very simple, plain way of saying the 7 of Pentacles. I've been putting my time and effort into this. It isn't really yielding all that much, or it hasn't really had the results I want. So maybe I take that time back and I put it into this, which is yielding good results or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Being very choosy about how you spend your time, your effort, your emotions, even, and thinking about like what pays off, what gives back to me, and what doesn't, and adjust accordingly. And 7 of Pentacles does necessarily say there is an adjustment to be made, okay? You don't put 7 legs on a table. You take one away, or you put one on. Put 7 legs on a table is wonky. So it's like there is an adjustment to be made. So is yours a process of addition or perhaps subtraction? That's what I kind of feel for more of you, is like do less. Like do less. More space. More clarity. Okay? Take a leg off the table. Okay. The guidance. Judgment. Pay attention to the wake-up call. Judgment is nobody likes, right? Like being awoken by the alarm call in the morning, least of all Pisces, who are so deep in their dreams and in their sleep, right? Nobody wants to crack open their eyes and roll out of the warm, soft bed and get out and like get into the world. But the truth is that it's when we're awake and when we're up and out and in the world and doing our thing that the best things happen. So there can be a sense of comfort and a sense of like, I don't have to like deal with all of that when we're asleep to things. But there is a beautiful benefit to opening our eyes when the alarm goes off and go, this is calling for my attention. This is calling for my awakeness, for my response, for my, I'm hearing adventurousness. Like this is calling me to become more adventurous. Has anybody noticed? This woman is walking downward into the underworld. And here, in the Judgment card, we are in the underworld and we can see the steps up and into the beautiful, bright, green, amazing world. So there's a little bit of like, a piece of me has to die so that the true me can live. The part of me that wants to be asleep has to wake up so that I can be my whole self, so I can make the adjustments I need to make, so I can respond to the clarity that I have. When the call comes, respond to it. When the inspiration comes, move with it. This is your mission should you choose to accept it, Pisces. I appreciate you, and I appreciate every single one of you that might have hung out for the whole video. Bless. Y'all are the best. Like if you like it. Subscribe if you vibe. And if you ever want to get a personal reading, the way to do that is right here. Thank you for your time. Wishing you well, and I hope to catch you next week. Bye.